When your cat chooses one person over everyone else, do you actually know what that means? Yes, it can seem sweet, maybe even a little unfair. One person gets followed, watched, greeted, and slept beside, while everyone else gets ignored. But behind that simple action, there is something deeper that most people miss. It is one of the most emotionally loaded things your cat can do. And if you misunderstand it, which most owners do, you might completely miss what your cat has been trying to tell you about trust, safety, and the kind of bond they are capable of forming. Let's start with what that behavior really means. Have you ever noticed that your cat always walks toward the same person in the room, the same lap, the same side of the bed, the same voice? Most people think it's about favoritism. In the simplest sense, they assume the cat just likes one person more for no real reason. But here's what's actually happening. Your cat is not making a random emotional choice. Your cat is choosing the person who feels safest, most predictable, and easiest to trust. That changes everything, because cats do not bond the way people often expect. They are not usually drawn to whoever tries hardest. They are drawn to whoever feels least threatening to their nervous system. Think about that for a second. And by the way, if your cat suddenly stops choosing that person, don't brush it off. We'll get to what that can mean later. And it's something many owners wish they had understood sooner. Now let us get into the science, because here's what most people don't realize. A 2019 study from Oregon State University found that many cats form secure attachment bonds with their human caregivers. In simple terms, your cat may see one specific person as their emotional anchor. That means when your cat chooses someone again and again, it may not be about treats or habit alone. It may be about regulation, calm, stability. Animal cognition research shows that cats are highly sensitive to human behavior patterns. They notice tone of voice, movement, speed, body posture, timing, and consistency. They learn who startles them, who corners them, who respects when they want space, and who makes the environment feel steady. So when your cat keeps returning to one person, here is what's actually happening. They are returning to the human whose presence feels easiest to relax around. A 2020 review in feline behavioral medicine noted that many cats prefer social interaction that preserves choice and control. Emotionally, that means your cat may trust the person who asks for less, not the person who reaches for more. That is not cold. That is your cat choosing peace. Have you ever noticed that your cat sleeps on one person's clothes, rubs against one person's legs more often, or sits in one person's usual spot? Most people think that's just routine. Here's what's actually happening. Cats build relationships through scent as much as through behavior. Their cheeks, forehead, flanks, and paws all carry scent glands, and when they rub against someone, they're not just being affectionate. They're mixing identities. Researchers who study feline behavior call this affiliative scent marking. It helps cats create a shared social map, a sense of who belongs with them. So when your cat repeatedly rubs on one person, sleeps on their hoodie, or stays in places that smell like them, that person is becoming part of the cat's inner circle. And here's where it gets even more powerful. Your cat is not only recognizing that person, they are weaving them into their sense of home. That means the favorite human is often the one whose scent becomes associated with safety, rest, and emotional calm. So the next time your cat keeps choosing one person's lap, blanket, or side of the couch, remember, this may be your cat quietly saying, "You are family to me." And hey, if this makes sense to you, hit like and subscribe. It helps us reach more cat lovers who actually want to understand what their cat is really saying. Now let's go deeper. Why would a cat single out one person at all? Because in nature, closeness is costly. Resting near someone, exposing your body, lowering your guard, and returning again and again all carry risk. So cats evolved to be selective about where they place trust. Here's what's actually happening. Your cat is using an ancient survival system in a modern home. In kittenhood, safety comes from warmth, predictable care, and a body nearby that does not harm them. Later in life, adult cats still seek those same patterns. They just express it more selectively. Behavioral scientists have observed that domestic cats often adapt early life, bonding instincts into adult human relationships. Not with everyone, with the person who best matches the cat's need for emotional safety. Think about that for a second. When your cat chooses one person over and over, they may be repeating one of the oldest decisions their nervous system can make. Who is safe enough to stay near? Who is safe enough to rest beside? Who is safe enough to trust? This is where most owners get it wrong. They assume every person in the home has an equal chance of becoming the cat's favorite. But that's rarely true. Does your cat greet strangers at the door the same way? Do they melt beside every guest? Do they slow blink at everyone? Do they follow everyone into the kitchen or wait outside the bathroom for them? Usually not. Cats are selective. They watch closely. They remember patterns, and they often bond most deeply with the person who understands their boundaries without trying to overpower them. What makes this even more meaningful is that the favorite human is often not the loudest, the most playful, or the one who tries the hardest to force closeness. It's often the one who listens best in feline language, the one who notices the tail flick, the one who stops petting before irritation starts, the one who lets the cat leave without taking it personally. That is why the bond feels so personal, because your cat is not choosing randomly. Your cat is choosing the person who makes trust feel possible. The deepest part of this behavior is not that your cat has a favorite, it's why. Remember earlier when I said that if your cat suddenly stops choosing that person, it may matter. This is what I was talking about. When a cat chooses one human again and again, they are not just showing preference, they are making themselves emotionally dependent in a quiet feline way. They are saying, this is the person I feel safest reading the world through. That is vulnerability, because cats are careful animals. They do not hand out deep trust freely. They do not build their routines, rest, and emotional patterns around someone, unless that person matters to them. Here's what's actually happening. Your cat is giving one person the highest role they can give in their emotional life. Not owner, not food provider. Safe person, that's not convenience. That's devotion in feline form, and that may be one of the deepest kinds of love a cat can offer. Now here's the part that matters. If your cat has always chosen one person and suddenly stops, pay attention. Sometimes the reason is simple. A schedule changes, a scent changes, a room changes, stress enters the house, but sometimes a shift in favorite person behavior can signal anxiety, pain, illness, or a disruption in the bond. Studies on domestic cats reveal that changes in proximity, greeting behavior, sleeping location, and social monitoring can happen when something feels wrong in the cat's body or environment. This is where most owners get it wrong. They notice the dramatic signs and miss the quiet ones. But cats often whisper before they scream. So if your cat stops seeking out their usual person, and you also notice hiding, appetite changes, tension, litter box changes, or reduced grooming, don't dismiss it. Look at the full pattern, because sometimes the loss of a small ritual tells you the biggest truth. So when your cat chooses one person over everyone else, do you actually know what that means? It means your cat is not being random, moody, or unfair. They are choosing the person whose presence feels safest, whose scent feels familiar, and whose behavior makes trust possible. That's not simple preference. That's attachment. That's trust. That's your cat giving one person a place inside their safest emotional world. And that simple behavior, it was never small to them. And it shouldn't be small to you either.